All right, guys, so our Baltimore Ravens just moved to 8-4 in a big-time matchup with playoff implications against the LA Chargers, man. They absolutely bullied a very physical Chargers team. Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football now has 22 touchdown passes to 0 interceptions and a 7-2 record. So, man, you already know it's time to pull out the purple shades, man. Welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, coming at you guys with our post-game edition of Ravens Reports, our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Ravens today. Let's dive into the content. At number 1, Rashad Bateman continues to be a go-to receiver for Lamar Jackson. He's no longer a complimentary piece. Well, maybe Bateman will emerge. You know, he's a former first-round pick that's been banged up with injuries, but now that he's fully healthy and has chemistry with Lamar Jackson, he's a bona fide legit weapon. That's what he is. He's a weapon. He's a threat when he's on the football field because Lamar Jackson has 2 passes of over 40-yard touchdowns this season. Both of them went to Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman continues to be a big play threat, a third down threat, a guy that can run routes and just absolutely cook you on a 15-yard in or an out, or very subtle and crafty with his route running. Rashad Bateman's an absolute threat. Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers, the top 2 receivers right now, is absolutely excellent. They can both separate. On the day, Zay Flowers goes 5 catches, 62 yards. There was a couple of opportunities for Zay Flowers where Lamar Jackson missed them, to be quite frank. So Zay Flowers could have had an even bigger day. Mark Andrews goes 5 catches for 44 and a tutty. Big touchdown grab there in the end zone. Lamar Jackson put it in a great spot. Mark Andrews had both feet down and a butt, and they called it not a touchdown. The other refs came over and were like, hey, bro, what'd you see here? Because it's obviously a touchdown. They overruled it. It became a touchdown. Rashad Bateman goes 2 catches, 43 and a tutty, man. Rashad Bateman is averaging an absolutely absurd amount of yardage per catch. If we want to talk about his explosiveness on the season, Rashad Bateman is averaging 16.4 yards per catch. He now has 5 touchdowns. He has more touchdowns this season than he had his previous seasons as a Baltimore Raven, his last 3 seasons combined. That's what Rashad Bateman's doing this year. He's a top 20 receiver in the NFL right now, statistically, and that chemistry is continuing to build with Lamar. At number 2, before we start to talk about defense and coaching and some other quotes and stuff like that, I want you guys to look at what Derrick Henry did today. It's funny because in our game preview, we said, hey, Derrick Henry's like due for one of these Derrick Henry games, right? He's just due to go off and take over a football game, and that's what he did tonight. Lamar Jackson didn't have to do much. He only passed for 177 yards. He did get 2 pay dirt touchdowns, but Derrick Henry did most of the heavy lifting. He had 24 carries for 140 yards and 5.8 yards per carry, along with 27, but it wasn't just the stats and the big runs. It was the 4th and 1s that he converted as well. There was one 4th and 1 where it did not look like we were going to make it, but he stiff arms 2 defenders to get to the first down marker, and that was the difference in this game. The Ravens able to convert 3 crucial 4th and 1 conversions, and the Ravens were able to turn all of those into points. If we would have punted there, I don't know if we won that game. You know, that especially on the own 16. That was very gutsy. At number 4, let's talk about coaching, because Harbaugh going for it on 4th and 1 from his own 16-yard line. No team has done that since 2012, and that happened on a fake punt. I believe that was by the Rams.
I mean, you know, the downside is they give them the ball at the 16-yard line. You know, that's the downside. And but the upside or the thought is that I really thought we could get it. You know, I thought Mark could get it with the quarterback sneak, and I just thought he and Tyler and our interior offensive line. I mean, Pat McCarry just coming off the ball the way he did, and Daniel Falele coming off the ball the way they did. I thought we could get it, and they did. So hats off to them. It led to like a 90-some yard drive and got us 7 points. That was a big turning point in the game.
So absolutely unprecedented move there by John Harbaugh. Very bold and very gutsy. When he was asked why, he did it, he just said, "I really felt like we were going to get it. I thought we could get, a few inches." And the plan was for Mark Andrews to take that quarterback sneak and for Derrick Henry to ram him from behind and absolutely push him as hard as he could. And that was the plan, and it did enough for Mark Andrews to surge over the pile and get that 4th and 1 conversion that led to 7 points for the Baltimore Ravens before heading into the half. It was a big moment for the Ravens. Very gutsy. John Harbaugh outcoached his brother Jim Harbaugh today. But going back to Derrick Henry real quick, man, 24 carries for 140 yards. The burst, the power, and the vision that Derrick Henry was running with was second to none. And it was like he would get 5 yards, and then all of a sudden you think he's about to go down, and then he rips off another 3 or 4. Or he rips off a 15-yard run, then he is able to keep going, keep turning the legs for another 5 yards and turn a 15-yard gain into a 20-yard gain. And it was those extra yards that really felt like it was just breaking the back of the Chargers defense. And 24 carries, 140 yards, nothing to scoff at. We're going to have a great running back matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles next week whenever Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, the top 2 rushers in the NFL, go head-to-head on that game in Baltimore. That's going to be fun. But obviously a big part of the Derrick Henry runs was this offensive line. It really felt like they were up for the challenge against a really good Chargers front. I think this Chargers front is one of the best in the NFL between their depth with their defensive tackles, their outside linebackers, their inside linebackers. Man, they got a really strong front, really strong run defense. And I think they thought we're going to stop the Ravens while keeping 2 high safeties, and we're going to slow them down, and they could not do that. The Ravens offensive line, I thought, performed great. In pass pro, there was a couple of times Lamar was pressured, but they did pretty well. Ronnie Stanley gave up 3 pressures, Daniel Falele 2 pressures, and then Rosengarten, McCary, and Tyler Linderbaum did great tonight with absolutely 0 pressures allowed. The Ravens having continuity on this offensive line has been big time for the offense, and it feels, this is what the truth is. If we don't have turnovers, even with penalties and some stalled drives, we're going to score 30 points. Like every time the Ravens don't have turnovers, they score 30 points. And even against really good defenses, they dominated the Bills defense. They dominated the Broncos defense. You saw what they did to the Chargers defense. I remember in the first half of this game, I was like, man, where's the offense? But then I just knew like it's going to explode at some point. And then before you know it, we went from 7 points through almost 2 quarters to ending the game with 30 points. The Ravens offense is so explosive and can make big plays in the run game and the passing game. At number 5, let's talk about the other side of the football because the defense was very impressive tonight. Very impressive. Yeah, they gave up a couple of runs to J.K. Dobbins, but Roquan Smith being the green dot wearer, their leader of the defense, the Mike linebacker, him being out and the Ravens still being able to have this type of performance was really encouraging, especially against who it was. I mean, it was Justin Herbert, it was J.K. Dobbins, it was Ladd McConkey, and a really strong offensive line. What I was really impressed with the most is that we had 4 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. Kyle Van Noy and Dafe Owe both had a sack, very disruptive. I thought they were held several times that it wasn't even called for penalty. A few times it was, but 4 sacks, 7 quarterback hits against 2 of the best offensive tackles in football, a really strong offensive line, and the Ravens were able to get pass rush. Even if it wasn't a sack, they were definitely affecting Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert, man, made a couple of plays where he was able to dodge a guy or step up in the pocket and deliver a ball downfield. But for the most part, man, I was really impressed with this Ravens defense. Tre'Davious White and Nate Wiggins both getting more playing time, and you're seeing a difference in pass defense. Nate Wiggins had a very impressive game, 6 tackles and 2 pass deflections. There was one where it was a big third down conversion for the Chargers, and he hit Rager on an outside comeback type of route. It hit Rager in the hands, and then as soon as he made the catch, it was a strong catch, Nate Wiggins rocked him, jarred the ball loose. Malik Harrison, we got to talk about Malik Harrison. There was one play where he got washed up in a bad run fit against J.K. Dobbins, but the rest of the game was beautiful, man. He was so violent in his blitzing. Like, when I saw him blitz a few times, he was running guys right on over. It looked a little bit different than when Roquan Smith was blitzing, to be quite frank with you. Malik Harrison is a huge big, strong guy, and you could feel that in his pass blitzes, but also extremely violent in tackling ball carriers and in run defense. 13 tackles and a tackle for loss. I think he was one of the best Ravens defenders on the field. So I don't know if that's going to spell more playing time for Malik Harrison next to Roquan Smith when he does come back, but I was impressed with what Malik Harrison was able to do. So Lamar Jackson on the day finished 16 of 22 for 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, an 86.8 QBR, and 126.5 passer rating. That's crazy because I thought Lamar Jackson had 2 or 3 throws where he just really missed bad, where there was an open receiver and he could have easily hit him. But despite those misses, he still averaged 8 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, an excellent passer rating. So, man, that just tells you how good Lamar Jackson is whenever he's having an off night and is still able to put up these type of really impressive numbers on the season. Lamar Jackson, he now has 3,053 passing yards. So on the season, Lamar Jackson's averaging 8.9 yards per completion, which is the highest mark of his entire career. And he has 27 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. 27 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He could very well beat his own career high of 36 passing touchdowns in 2019. Lamar Jackson probably going to win his 3rd MVP. He also has the highest passer rating of his career on the season, 117.9. In his MVP season in 2019, it was 113.3. So Lamar Jackson, he's going to win his 3rd MVP. The question is, what does he do in the playoffs, man? Because that's the only thing he cares about. He wants to win a Super Bowl. He's very capable. This Ravens team is very capable when they're clicking on all cylinders and they're sound on defense and they're running the football and they're making the plays in the passing game. They're explosive, man. They're capable of beating the Chiefs, the Bills, the Texans, the Bengals, any team in the AFC that you can think of. They're capable of beating and getting to the Super Bowl, and I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs. We're just a few weeks away. We're in almost December football, baby. So let me know what you guys think of in the comments section below. Man, smash the like button if you got any value out of today's content. We got some more stuff brewing up for you guys here soon, so make sure you got that subscribe and notification bell on so you don't miss anything we got for you guys. Baltimore Ravens, man, I love you. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.